food now.
Now he loves it, yeah. Yeah, it's changed for him. Part of what has changed for him is he's watched all the health problems in our family. We have a family that deals with high blood pressure, cholesterol, lots of heart attacks, heart disease, and obesity in our family. And so then they watch me eat like a truck driver, and they go, how can she do that? You know, so he's watching, and I'm not taking any medications, which I'm the only one in the family who's not on medications. Even the younger ones are on various medications for things. So he's watching, and he says, I want to eat like that. That's how I want to eat. You know, and they take laxatives and, you know, the whole thing. So that's a whole nother thing. So for me, I didn't choose this path. I had never heard of a vegetarian at that point. I just thought, I love animals, I'm not going to eat them. Simple as that. And then a few years later, I met a woman, and she called herself a vegetarian. I said, what is that exactly? She said, you know, I don't eat any meat. I said, no meat? No fish? Nothing? She said, yeah, no meat. I said, that's what I am. I have a name for myself. I was so excited to have this label, you know, something I could tell people, and to know that there was someone else. I had met one other. I was so excited. And I kind of heard about some people who didn't eat dairy or didn't eat eggs, and I thought it was quite extreme. Because I thought, hey, those animals don't die for that. It seemed very extreme to me. And then I was renting a little cabin from a dairy farmer, and his name's Melvin. And I was at my cabin, and one day I heard a sound I had never heard before. And I thought, what in the world is that? And I got on my bike, and I biked next door to his house. And I see Melvin and a guy I don't recognize in a semi, and they're loading calves up a ramp onto the semi. And some of them are still kind of wet and wobbly, they're newborns, and some of them are maybe a day or two old. And I'm watching him load them up. And I said, Melvin, what's going on? He said, oh, it's just the calves. I said, what do you mean just the calves? And he said, it's the boys, it's the males. And I said, yeah, and? He said, you know, we don't have a use for them. We have Danny, and I know Danny. Danny's the artificial inseminator in the area. He lives in that area. So they don't even need the males for that. They have Danny, the artificial inseminator, who, as an aside, they tried to fix me up with once. But it wasn't my type. So, you know, I watched this happening. You know, these calves being loaded up. I said, well, why are you doing this? He said, well, you know, they're going to Menominee. They're going to the veal facility there. And I said, why? He said, that's where they get the calves for veal. They get them from us, because we don't have a use for the males. I was shocked. And then I said, and the sound I'm hearing? He said, it's the cows. And he said, they're behind the barn. And I said, can I go see them? He said, yeah, but you know, don't get all upset, Ray. And I went around the barn, and the moms' mouths were wide open, screaming for their babies. That's the sound I had heard from over at my cabin. And some of them were pressed so hard against the barbed wire that there was blood on their fur. And I watched this, and I thought, I can't do this. I can't take part in this. I don't want to pay for anything or support anything that I don't truly believe in. So I came around, and I said, no more dairy for me, Melvin. He said, you'll get over it, and they'll get over it, you know, and you'll go back to dairy, and they'll be fine. And I never did. And I was 20 years old then, and I had never heard the word vegan. Was the word vegan around then? When I was 20? No. So it was around.
Since 1945.
Oh, okay. But I was clueless. I had never heard it. And I had never met anyone else who was doing this. And I just chose to do it. And at that point, my family still hadn't adjusted to the vegetarian thing. And my brother was so upset that he actually called around to the family. He wanted to do a psychiatric intervention and have me put away for a while because there was something wrong with me that I wasn't eating dairy and eggs. And what I did at that point was I just started to really explore. I thought, I want to visit these places. I want to know what's behind closed doors and closed gates. What does it take to create these eggs? What does it take to create this? And I have to say ignorance is bliss, you know, because I learned about things, and once I saw the amount of suffering, I said, I cannot support this anymore. So I came at it totally from nonviolence angle. JC came at it totally from environmental angle. Some people come at it from the health path. What generally happens is that wherever people are coming from, they end up finding out about the other ones. I ended up accidentally healthy, you know, and you ended up accidentally in the compassion area, and, you know, so we all just kind of learned from each other. So I just wanted to say this too, before we start, is that we're not here to just convert anyone. That's not why we're doing this. Folks requested it, and Shay was one of the people who requested it, so it's a bummer she's not here. But folks requested it, we thought, yeah, why not? We don't pressure people to do this. It's an invitation to a possibility, and that's all it is. You know, we don't judge you if you leave here and you're not suddenly walking around as super vegans. It's not why we're doing this. It's just sharing something that's a possibility. And having just come back from taking care of my parents, it makes me even more excited to share it as a possibility because of the kind of diseases that I'm watching family deal with. I mean, in that week I was there, I went to a funeral for my dad's best friend who had had a heart attack. I was there because my dad was having surgery. My mother found out she had to go on cholesterol pills, and her sister was diagnosed with colon cancer. This is 1 week in their lives. You know, and I left there and I thought, okay, I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, because I don't want to end up, maybe I'm predisposed to a lot of this. A lot of us are. There's nothing you can do if you come from a family who is predisposed to diabetes, heart disease, strokes, whatever. The only thing you can do is kind of try to work with the odds a little bit and do everything you can. You know, there's no 100% guarantee that we're going to escape whatever it is that came in our genetic material. But I thought, I'm working with the odds. I am just going to hopefully not do the heart attack path or pharmaceutical path.
And incidentally, though, there is some research that shows that if you eat healthy plant-based foods, that you can actually change your genetic code in your body and improve the odds of not suffering from some of these diseases that may run genetically in your family. So, you know, switching to a healthy plant-based diet can do more for you than just reverse the processes in your body. It can actually change your genetic material. So, and I also wanted to mention, since Ray had talked about it briefly, is that about heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States, in fact, in Western society. But 100 years ago, it was not even, the term was not even in medical textbooks, heart disease. It's now the #1 killer. It wasn't even in textbooks 100 years ago. And the reason is that we were suffering from heart disease back then. Heart disease is something that we brought on ourselves, and that's primarily from a meat-based diet, primarily.
Hey, Carrie made coffee if anyone wants coffee. And I got the pasta going. I didn't give you pasta instructions because I'm pretty sure that everybody in here knows how to make pasta. So I thought that was pointless to do.
We do use a whole wheat pasta when we cook, rather than the normal pasta. Although the normal pasta isn't so bad, you know, as far as what it does to your blood sugar. But this is a better one. Anytime that you have some packaged grains of any sort, you should check and make sure that the first ingredient is a whole grain. And that's what it says on this. Whole wheat is the first ingredient. Organic, durum, whole wheat, and then just has other wheat ingredients. And same with these woven wheat white wafers. Some of you probably had it during the Super Bowl. But the first ingredient on here is whole wheat. That's what you need to look for. If it says wheat flour, run away from it, because your body treats it just like it does sugar.
Run away from it, that's a nice visual of them running out the store. A lot of the stuff that we get is from Trader Joe's, just because they have most of the stuff we use.
I was going to say, there's a lot of stuff here I've never seen before in a supermarket, or anywhere, actually. And there are a few things I have.
Yeah, we do a lot of Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. But sometimes I call Whole Foods Whole Paycheck because they can be pretty pricey in there. But there's the other one, what's it called? Sprouts?
Sprouts, yeah.
Sprouts. And Sprouts has a lot of that. And Barb, you've been going to Frontier, right?
Yeah, there's one, but it's not, unfortunately, there's one in Prescott, one in Flagstaff, and one in Sedona. It's called Frontiers. And it's like a great, that one we were in Sedona was just huge.
Yeah, it's good. We've been to that one.
And it's changing. You know, it used to be you had to go to a special store, get some special food. You know, it was really high maintenance. But it's changing so much now. We can be in total podunk USA and find most of what we need. You know, and we don't have to. Any of the specialty foods, We don't really need any of those specialty foods, you know. Give us some really good baked potatoes and some wonderful veggies with it or some pasta, so we can really find what we need anywhere.
10 years ago, you could only find this in a natural food store.
Oh,
Now I
so
defy you to go into a supermarket and not be able to pick this up. And that was in a matter of 10 years.
Yeah, it's changed so much.
It depends where they sell it from in the store. I've seen it back home, they put it in organic and they charge $1 more per container.
Yeah, yeah.
And cereal's that way too. If you
Yeah.
find a cereal, and the regular cereal part, you can get it for $2.28, you go to the organic part and
And
it's
they
$1.50
jack it
more.
up.
I buy it at Walmart, and if you buy the silk, it's, like you say, it's $1, but if you buy the Walmart brand, it's...
Yeah, that's a good
I buy the vanilla, so I don't know if you approve of that, but I like that vanilla.
Yeah.
He likes it. He likes the sweeter stuff. I get the unsweetened stuff. You know, it's amazing to watch how much it's changed over time. It's just been incredible. We were in Florida last winter, was it? We were in Florida last winter. You know, High Springs, Florida. And the only store nearby was Winn-Dixie. And Winn-Dixie had everything. Everything we needed was in that store.
Well, a lot, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, we'd go to the farmer's market for things to supplement, but yeah, it was great.
Do
Okay,
you buy
so
organic vegetables?
we buy organic vegetables whenever they're available. You know, when they're not, we still buy them. There's certain things that I won't buy not organic because
What's
they're
that?
on the high pesticide list, like strawberries. Yeah, so you know, there's
Bell peppers you don't want to get.
yeah, so certain ones that I won't buy not organic, just because they're on that top of the nasty list. Even for folks who aren't, you know, over the top thinking about it like us, these lists go out in different places. You know, Newsweek had it. So
What are you going to...
I'm going to start with.
We're going to do
few
some things
things
a
that
little
need
bit
to be
out of
done.
order from what normal, because we want
We're
to
going to chill a few.
we want to chill it a little bit too.
So we're going to start with, does everybody have a handout or one they can look at? Okay, so we're going to start with the crock cheese. And a few of you here have had this cheese. Did you ever see those like Corcoran Club crock cheese in the brown crocks?
Yeah.
This is sort of like that, or tastes a little bit like that. This is a recipe I invented. I was house sitting for these people, and I just started playing around with ingredients that they had in their house. I had time, obviously. And I just started playing around with it and came up with this recipe. And for a lot of people, making this choice to give up animal products is very, very easy. The hardest thing for me was cheese. You know, I'm from Wisconsin, Minnesota. I'm a cheddar head. You know, we love cheese. And it's also, cheese has an addictive quality to it. I'm going to put a little bit more in there since they're a whole one. It has an addictive ingredient in it called casomorphine, which is a wonderful thing if you have a baby and you want your baby to want a nurse. But it is also why it's very difficult to wean young humans or non-humans off of milk. And it is addictive. It's totally addictive. To this day, I mean, it has been since I was 20, since I've eaten dairy. And to this day, if I see a billboard with cheese pizza oozing over the sides, I salivate. I look at it, I go, oh, JC, look. You know? So it's definitely addictive. So in this recipe, it says, it doesn't say it, but it should say it. Right in there that you have to blend the cashews first.
Dry.
When it's dry, when the blender's dry.
You might want to put a notation there if you want to make this.
Hey, Jim, come on in.
Oh, thank you.
What do you mean, no thank you?
You got food out. I don't do food.
Oh, you can just come in and make trouble. Okay, noise is coming. And any blender will do this. We have like super high-powered Vitamix, but any blender will do it. And it just turns it to powder.